Come on, Lottie. Are you going to go for a walk, Lilum? There we go. Hi everyone, Diane here. Welcome to my channel. Hope everyone's well and ready to embark on the latest adventure in painting. That said, I have been suffering from painter's block the last 2 days. I think I outpainted myself. And so today I'm going to use for reference a book which I have just recently bought actually on Kindle, having then discovered that if I look at it on my Kindle, it's in black and white, so that's not much use, but I can see it in colour on my iPad, so that's okay. This is Ink and Wash Florals by Camilla Damsbo Brix, and it's an interesting book because she approaches a subject which is quite dear to my heart. I do a lot of this kind of painting, but my style is utterly different from hers. So if you don't like my style, why don't you go and take a look at her book? I'm not quite sure what to do. I've got some interesting floral things here, which I could paint. For example, this. This is a leek seed head, and it's absolutely amazing. It reminds me of alliums, these leeks. They go to flower like this. I suppose they are an allium, aren't they, leeks? And then when they go to seed, they're like, I mean, look at the size of it. That's my hand. It's absolutely gigantic. And I've also got here, we've got hydrangeas here because in France, it's going to fall over now. In France, hydrangeas are very, very popular. They are very hard to kill. I know that because we dug one up about 10 times before it finally gave up the ghost. I had to dig it up because it was going under the house. Anyway, this one is drying beautifully and is green and pink at the moment, and that would be lovely if I could paint it, but I'm not quite sure that I feel up to that today. Lots of detail there, and of course, the older they get, the more interesting. So, you know, these are lovely things for autumn, aren't they? And always interesting to look at what happens when things fade. A bit like people, they get much more interesting as they get older. So that's that, and here's another one. This one is really pretty. It's still got some blue and some brown. That's a lovely combination of colours there. And I've also got a few other seed heads and things like that. There's this one here. Now let me think, what's that? That's fennel, Tamsin said. That's fennel seeds there. So yeah, that's that. And this as well, I think, is the same thing while it's still in flower. I mean, they're lovely, aren't they? Makes you think about pressing flowers, doesn't it? You remember when we used to dry them when we were kids? We used to go and pick things out from nature, bring them home. You wouldn't press one of these, but then I never saw one of those until I was much older. We didn't have them where I lived in Swanley. So I'm just putting those back in the water. I'll probably try and dry some of those. Well, actually, I already have. I brought some hydrangeas into the house. And apparently you don't need to put them in glycerin, hydrangeas, because they just dry naturally eventually and they will last throughout the whole winter. So what am I going to do? That's a very good question. I've got another good book here too, actually. Well, I don't know if it's a good book or not. I'm not entirely sure it is, but it is a book and it's called Making Winter. It was published in 2017, so it was before the pandemic. So it does have a rather sort of complacent kind of air about it, which we don't have anymore. And it's all about how to make the most of the bad weather when you live in the Western Hemisphere, Northern Hemisphere, and in the West, I would say. This picture attracted my attention, though, because this looks like muesli, but it's not. That's fat balls for the birds. But I rather like the combination of colours and things in that picture. Although it has to be said that the quality of printing these days is not what it used to be. And so anyway, I would sort of recommend this book. I don't think Kay has reviewed this one yet on Art Book Nook, but there's quite a few pictures in here. There's also a few ideas about drawing and so on and so forth. And bits and pieces like this. So it's quite nice. This is quite nice. That bird's leg isn't in the right place. Yeah, so I don't know. I just don't know what to do, really. I mean, this would be quite nice. I was thinking, actually, maybe I'll do this, because I was thinking about painting some glass bottles, because I did a sketch the other day for the Sketchtember thing of this little bottle. We have quite a lot of these here, which we found in the garden. This one says on it, tincture of iodine. So it would have been medicine of some sort, probably for the animals that used to live here, I expect. And it's quite fun to draw. And then I've just turned to this page here, which has got all these twiggy things in these bottles and things. I've got that one too, actually. I think I've got one just like that. Oh, well, this one doesn't have any writing on it. It just says pot, but it's a very similar sort of jar. So I could collect together a few little jars like that and make an arrangement like that. So I think that's what I'm going to do. Okay, so I have got a little ceramic jar. This is, I think, used to have a lid, and it would have probably contained something edible. And then I've got a little Japanese tea cup like that. And then I've got my glass tincture of iodine bottle. And then this one, which I think is an ink bottle. I think this was for ink. It had a cork in the top. It's very, very old. It's got lots of casing in the glaze, and it's definitely been used for ink. Not quite sure where that came from. And then I'm going to draw some flowers coming out the top of these. I'm not quite sure which way around to do it. Maybe I'll do it this way. I was thinking the other way, but I think I'll do it this way. And I'm going to put those in an arrangement in front of me, and then I'm going to draw them with a pen and see how that goes, and then I'll colour them in. So right down the bottom here, we're going to put the table, so to speak. And so let's, you know, the problem with using cold press paper, which is what I'm using at the moment, is that it has a texture, and the texture kind of makes it harder to get the fine liner to take on the paper. I'm going to go right down there. I probably should have used hot press. So I'm going to go right down there like that with that one, and then the next one is going to go up here. And I'm not bothering too much about scale, you know, that is to say the relative size of these containers. I'm just letting things happen. Let's put that up a bit higher. Scale and perspective are not going to be terribly important. I've given up on all of that. So just, well, I haven't completely given up. And then this one behind, I'm going to put that one overlapping. It's got these grooves around the top there where something was screwed in the lid. Okay, so there we are. We've got our 4 containers, and then we're going to, I think I'm going to switch to a slightly thicker pen actually. Let's see what I can find. .8, that's perhaps bigger. And then let us just, yeah, that's a bit better. I'm looking at this photo here, which is a bit dark, but I'll probably be able to get something out of it. But I'm going to be working largely from imagination, so I'm using that, and we'll put some shadow in behind. And actually, I think rather than use this photo, I think I'll use what I've got here in front of me, which is, like I said, the fennel. So we'll just make it up as we go along, really. Just sketching this in. I always try to encourage people not to be afraid of drawing any more than I am, because we all are. We and ah and and ah, and I don't know. This has got sort of kind of leaves coming out like that. It's a bit broken. And we can put colour on there. And it's yellow. It's quite a lot of heads. So we'll put that aside. And then let's see, what should we do next? Here, let's have a catkin. The catkins normally come out in the spring. So I suppose you could say we're looking towards the spring here, even though winter hasn't even really arrived. So we'll just draw these greyish catkins in, which are coming out of a long straight stem. I'm going to paint those in a nice soft grey soon. And this pot is going to be blue, and that one is beige, and this one is brown. And in here I'm going to put some pansies. We've still got pansies flowering in the garden. Which is nice. So pansy, you draw a backward C and a C, and then for the bottom of the flower we do an upside down heart, and then we do 2 petals like that, and 2 petals in the back. We darken the centre a little bit and put some lines coming out to show the shape of the petals. And then we put the stem going into the water, and we could put a leaf out the back like that. We have these sort of scoopy sort of leaves. Could put another one down there behind. And now on this one we could do some catkins. So we'll make the stem go up like this, and then it's going to branch out. And we'll do that reasonably strongly. That is to say, reasonably dark. And then we'll do the catkins kind of fluffy like this. And have another one up here. and over here. Okay, so there we are. Now we've got a nice kind of arrangement there. There's the table going along behind. And the next thing, I think what we can do now is to paint it. And the question is, what colours are we going to use and what brush? So let's go for a medium-sized or relatively small, I think that's about an 8, yes, that's an 8 round brush. And we could start at the bottom and go up, or we could start at the top and come down, or we could do whatever we want to do. The flowers are yellow-ish. So if I look at them again, I know the light's not very good in here today. It's raining again, as you can probably hear. So I think what I'll do, I need my... I'm just going to put dabs of yellow on all of those flowers like that. And then it's got quite green stems, so we'll go for some of the, I think this is sap green light. And they do have a sort of green centre on the flowers. So I'll just dab in a bit of that. And then we'll paint the leaves. And I'm not the petals. No, I'll get that right in a minute. Bear with me. We'll paint the stems, but we're not going to make any effort to keep to the lines. We're just going to paint the lines in using the brush as a pencil kind of thing. So just like that. And then I've got my, this is beige. So we will use, I'm going to use some shell pink for the pot, which I think will look okay. We'll do the whole thing in shell pink. Like that. And then maybe we'll pick up a little bit of, this is yellow ochre. And we'll use that for the shadow on the inside. Okay. And then the next one is catkins, which are a sort of nice soft grey colour. And I've got ultramarine here. That's ultramarine. And we'll just mix a little bit of burnt sienna. With that to give us a nice grey. And then we'll pop in our catkins, not catkins, pussy willow. Yes, pussy willow, there we are. So that's done. And then we want a bit more blue, so we'll just pull out a bit more blue in there. And because our little pot is blue. And I'm not going to paint the whole of that because I don't want it to touch there. And we'll add a little bit more burnt sienna to the blue so that we can have some shadow for the inside. Okay, so we'll leave that like that with a light area where it's reflecting. And so then the next one is the pansy. And I always think pansies are nice when they're purple, don't you? So what we'll do with the pansies, we'll wet the petals. I'm not the only person that says leaves when I mean petals. I've noticed this. Okay, and then I'm going to pick up some of this purple colour and just very lightly, put some around the edge. You have to be delicate with this. Delicate is not necessarily me. So we'll do that, and we'll do that on this one too. And let it move towards the center. And we could paint the whole of the one in the background, the two in the background, like that. And then we want some yellow for the very center. We'll just drop that in and let that move out as well, which it will. And I'm going to do the two in the back here yellow, because we have that combination too in our garden. And then we need some leaves. So we'll do some leaves. We'll just paint these leaves. And once I've painted them in the light green, I'll just pick up some dark green to put a little bit of shadow on there. So just put a little bit of darker green. And I'll paint the stems, and then that's done. So now we have the bottle to do, which is, I think, a sort of quinacridone gold colour. I hope you are noticing that every time I pick up a colour, I do mix it with water. I don't go straight from the I don't work straight from the tube or straight from the pan. This is a palette. I take some water, I go into the paint. And then I paint. Okay, so that's that one. This is looking very nice. Quite happy with this. And then now we've got the catkins, and they are a kind of greenish yellow. So we'll mix up some greenish yellow like this, and I might add a little bit of shell pink to that. And then I'm going to paint those in. And maybe a teensy bit of quinacridone gold for the shadow on those. And then the stems, the stick is brown, so we'll go with raw sienna and a little bit of purple. So we'll just paint over the stems, the twiggy bits. And then this pot, that's the problem, you see. That's the thing. Your language goes out the window when you're thinking about painting. Okay, so now I want a sort of beige for that one. So let's go with that. That's a mixture of burnt sienna and shell pink, I think. And so I think I need a little bit of blue to make the grey for the inside shadow area, like that. And here. And we'll let that dry. And then just some, what colour shall we do for the bottom of the table? I don't think it needs much, does it? Maybe a little bit of a slightly different green, perhaps. Just to sort of settle it down. So there we are. That's that then. I'm quite happy with that. The pansies have come out fine, haven't they? You might want to actually just put a little bit of blue in there to just give us some depth to that vase, and this one too. A little bit round here. So here we are. We have got our fennel, our pussy willow, our pansies and our catkins. So in remembrance of the spring. And don't forget, take a look at the book. Well, there's a couple of them. I'll put them in the links below because this was the inspiration. I think you'll agree I went a long way from where she was in that photo. So that was just, I think this is the thing, you see, you look at the photo and you think, oh, yeah, I could do something like that. That's just a photo. But mine is obviously completely different, needless to say. And also, I haven't got the actual book, like I said. I did just buy it on Kindle. But Ink and Wash Florals by Camilla Damsbo Bricks. And take a look at Kay's review of that if you're at all interested in purchasing it. It might just be exactly what you're looking for. I'm not going to say it's up my alley. I don't paint like that. But it is nevertheless always good to have hundreds, if not thousands, of books in your library so that you've always got something to turn to for inspiration. And then, you know what's really good actually, final thought, it's good if you don't like the way somebody else paints because you look at what they've done and you say, I can do better than that. So there we are. Let's put that in the mix, shall we? I'm going to let you go now. It's pouring with rain. It feels like winter already, and yet it's only September the 8th. And 2 weeks to my next birthday. I don't want to know about that. So I'll let you go and I shall speak to you soon. Bye for now, everybody. Bye-bye.